Hey guys, today I want to share with you how to style a Bridgerton-inspired tablescape. I'm Nicole with Adorn the Table, and since the most recent season of Bridgerton has come out, I thought it'd be fun to take a stab at creating and styling a table that has that same look, vibe, aesthetic that you see on the Bridgerton series. Plus, I bet some of you are planning dinner parties, lunch parties, maybe even teas centered around a Bridgerton theme, and I thought this might help give you some inspiration for your own gathering. The first thing that I always tell people when they're going to start styling a table is find a source of inspiration. Choose one piece that you can then build off of the rest of the table pieces. And what are you going to be using for dishes? Are you using a tablecloth? Are you using a runner? Are you using placemats? What glasses are you going to be using? Find that one piece that then you can help center everything else around with your design. Now, for my Bridgerton-inspired tablescape, I found these plates at an estate sale. I absolutely love them, and I know these would not be found in the 1800s, but I think they're a great representation of what you would find or see on the Bridgerton show. Because I love this floral pattern that you see in here, and then the light pinks and greens and blues. I think they're very representative of what we see in the show. So I thought this would be a great piece to use for my foundation, for my inspiration piece that I then am going to build everything off of and incorporate so that it has that same look and feel on my table setting. Now, the first thing that I knew I wanted is I wanted a tablecloth, because in my vision, Bridgerton always has tablecloths on their tables. Now, I know they don't always, but that's my vision, and I wanted to incorporate a really beautiful tablecloth into this tablescape. So I brought my plate with me, and I did some shopping, and I found the most perfect tablecloth at Williams-Sonoma. I mean, check this out. Look how perfectly this tablecloth matches my plates. The pinks in the plates match the pinks in my tablecloth. There's even some blue, and then the greens. When I put this plate next to the tablecloth in the store, I knew immediately it is the perfect tablecloth for my table setting. And that's why you need to bring your inspiration piece with you when you're shopping, because you can't always be sure that the style and the colors that you find when you're shopping are going to match the inspiration piece unless you bring it with you. So even though my tablecloth and my plates match perfectly, I knew I didn't want to have my dinner plates sitting directly on my tablecloth, because I felt they get a little lost in this tablecloth. They almost become part of it. And I want to make sure that they stand out and that they're noticeable in my table setting. So I found the perfect addition, and those are these silver charger plates I have. I believe I probably got them at Dollar Tree or maybe a secondhand store. But charger plates were actually introduced in the 1800s, so using them on a Bridgerton-inspired table setting is perfect, because the time period works well with introducing charger plates to a table setting. And then having my plate on top of my charger plate really helps bring it out and have it stand out from the tablecloth. So you can then really identify and see how well they match and how well they coordinate. So I'm just going to take my charger plate, add the dinner plates to it. Now make sure that you put your charger plate about 1 inch from the edge of your table, and I'm going to set the rest of the table with my charger and dinner plates. Now, when I found this set of dishes, it also came with a bowl and a little bread plate, and I thought these would be ideal to use also on this tablescape. Yeah, because with Bridgerton and that very elegant and opulent look to their tablescapes, they definitely had very full table settings. So we want to make sure that adding additional plates to our place settings would be very Bridgerton. I'm going to take and put the small plate on the top left of my place setting where your bread plate would go. And then my bowl, I'm going to take and center on top of my dinner plate, which I think would be an ideal use either for a soup or for a salad. It's just that perfect size bowl for either one of those dishes that you might be serving at your own soiree. One of the things you might notice that when I put my dishes out, I try to make sure that when they have a pattern on them, that the pattern is facing the same way, direction on each of my place settings. So in this case, there's a small floral pattern and a large floral pattern. So I'm making sure that that small floral pattern in the bowls is at the top. And then on the plates, the large floral pattern is on the top. So I'm trying to make sure there's some consistency as to how I'm putting the plates out, because I think it helps provide a nice cohesion in a table setting. And it just kind of pulls everything together, and it doesn't make somebody kind of feel a little off, but they don't know why. So that's why making sure if you have a pattern on your plates, make sure each of them is facing the same direction in the place setting. Here's a quick close-up of the bowl and a quick close-up of the dinner plate. Next, I'm going to put out my flatware, and I have a bit of a mix of knives, forks, and spoons. These are all silver plate, sterling, different pieces I've picked up when I've been at secondhand and estate sales. They're just ones that kind of spoke to me, so this is definitely a hodgepodge of flatware. But with the ornateness of each of them, I kind of thought it would work well in a Bridgerton tablescape because of that more fanciness of them, and also being relatively closer to the time period than what my own current flatware is. So I'm going to mix it up, which again, since Bridgerton is more of a fantasy series versus a historically accurate, I think it's fine to take these kind of liberties in and on my table setting. Next, I'm going to be adding my fancy glasses to my tablescape. So I've got a water glass, a red or white wine glass, and then I also have a champagne coupe. I thought these three glasses would be a perfect rounding out of my place settings. Now, one of the things I did notice is that where I've placed my bread plate might be a bit in the way of my glasses. So I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging as I'm putting my glassware out. But just so you know, the water glass goes to the top left of the knife. Then the wine glass goes just below that. So closer to the table. So water glass is above the wine glass. And then the champagne coupe, I'm gonna put, kind of creating a triangle above the wine glass and just to the right of the water glass. That's how I'm going to situate them in my place setting. But as you can see, it already got in the way of the bread plate from my guest that's sitting here. So I'm gonna need to do a little bit of rearranging, and that's okay when you're creating a tablescape. You know, as you're putting things out, you're realizing, oh, this is taking up a little bit much space. I need to bring things in or move them around a little bit, and give yourself that leniency. Don't feel that things need to be hard and fast. It's okay to move things around to make sure that they work with how you're setting your table. So give me a moment and let's get all the glasses put out and then resituate where the bread plates are going. Quick look at my glasses. To round out my place settings, I definitely need to add napkins, and I'm going to be using napkin rings because those were also introduced in the 1800s. So I've got some very simple round silver napkin rings that I think are going to be perfect in this tablescape and these place settings. And I'm just putting the napkin to the left of the fork. I decided to use these dark pink napkins because I thought they really helped pull out the dark pink in my tablecloth. And then these are the simple silver napkin rings that I have. I decided to do something just very simple because I was thinking, you know, Bridgerton, there's probably not a lot of fancy napkin folds, so I did this in just a quarter fold and then one more time so it's shaped like a rectangle. And then in the back I kind of did a little bit of a three-fold. Then I'm slipping the napkin ring over that. Just again, something nice and very simple. I feel like I've got a lot going on with the tablecloth and the plates already. So just having a simple napkin ring and napkin, I think has a very nice complement to the rest of the table setting. Since I've got my place settings all set on my table, I now need to focus on my centerpiece. And with this being a Bridgerton-inspired table, I thought flowers and silver were perfect because of that opulent and glamour type of look during that fictional time of year. So behind me, I already have a bouquet of flowers that I have created in a silver bowl that I thought would be fairly accurate of the show because roses and irises were used or are used in the show, and they were very popular during the early 1800s as well. So I thought this was a good representation of what you might see on a table setting during that time period. And I'm just going to take and put it right in the middle of my table. I might need to do a little bit of moving around of my glasses just to make sure that they don't interfere with my flowers. Next, I'm going to add candelabras to my centerpiece, which I thought, again, very accurate for the show and for the time period to have candles, candelabras on a well-set tablescape like this one. So I have candelabras that belong to my Nana. These were handed down to me and I polished them up for my table setting, which polishing silver is actually really easy to do. I think sometimes we get afraid of doing it, thinking it's just going to be so labor intensive and such a pain and hassle, but you know, actually this took me maybe half an hour sitting in front of the TV and just watching TV while I was polishing it up. It did not take much time at all. Now, if you don't have silver candelabras, you can easily find them at secondhand stores or estate sales. I see them for sale all the time and usually pretty inexpensive because, you know, let's face it, we do not use these for setting tables these days. I mean, unless you're at a very formal function, a wedding, you might see them then. But in general, this is not something that you're going to be using on a daily basis. But I have two of them and I'm going to put one on each side of my flowers. And then I have some tall white pillar candles that I'm going to add to this to really help round out that whole look and feel that I'm going for. What do you think of my Bridgerton-inspired tablescape? If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Remember, a wonderfully set table is a gift to those gathered around it. I look forward to seeing you next time here at the table. Bye.